Tell us your name, the organization you are coming from, and thereafter you ask your question. So, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have received hundreds of questions for all the ministers, but I have said time will not permit us to go through them. I will therefore start with some of the questions that we have just received. And I will start with the question for the Honorable Minister of Police Affairs. Honorable Minister, sir, reports have it that the state of emergency declared by Mr. President in some states of the Federation has succeeded mainly due to cooperation of the people in those areas. What is your ministry doing to further encourage partnership between the police and the public in terms of police-public relations? This question is coming from one Mr. Alabi Emmanuel from Kaduna. And for the Minister of Information Technology, for the Minister of Communication Technology, this question is coming from one Malam Martins from Taraba State. He said that there has been a big downturn in telecommunication services in this country. For example, there is a sharp drop in quality of services from the telecommunication operators as subscribers continue to grapple with surge in unconnected calls, drop calls, unsolicited text messages, for example, from a Glo number 888, which, if you unsubscribe, they refuse and send you insultive messages, among others. Honorable Minister, why is this problem persisting? Can you do something about it? Please help us. We feel cheated. Mark Sylvester from Imo. And for the Minister of Interior, one Chinaza here in Abuja is asking, Honorable Minister of Interior, sir, not long ago, the President said that some of the people that their names were submitted for the job of Comptroller General of the Nigerian Immigration Service were not even qualified to be in the service. Sir, what are you doing to fish out this type of people so that the service would be in a better position? And lastly, for the Minister of Special Duties, this gentleman is asking you to please explain what are the criteria for the award of honors, for the merit award honors in this country. That he wants to know the criteria because in the past he has seen where people who do not deserve this award are being given. Please, Honorable Minister, explain. May I now call my colleague Yahya Umar to read out his own questions.
Sir, I am Irorere Osaretin, representing Association of Nigeria Police Contractors. We appreciate you for the effort you have made so far, with due respect. In the spirit of democracy, if I can recall the day you personally addressed the ANPC last year, you gave us your consent that this association payment will be captured in 2013 budget. And the Senate Committee Chairman on Police was with you that day in the office in the person of Honorable Paulinus Igwe, in which he promised that there is going to be intervention fund. Then you promised that there will be no further contract award until this debt is being paid. Sir, tell us, no payment has been made to contractors so far. To the Honorable Minister of Interior, my name is Golden from Port Harcourt, River State. My question is for the Honorable Minister of Interior. Sir, what has your office done in order to improve the operational services of the Nigeria Fire Services, including state-owned? Have you thought of bringing in the Fire Service College and all that it takes from London? 2, fire services, well, that's one question, and that should be that. It also encompasses that. Now, 3, Communications Minister, do you have modalities in place to ensure increased capacity in the local production of mobile phones in line with the current transformation agenda of Mr. President from Mr. Tekedu Fidelis in Benin City? And finally, from McDonald Frank Obowu in Hong Kong via email, Honorable Minister for Special Duties, I can't come back home because my passport was stolen. I gave out money for a new one, but my cash got arrested by fraudsters. Do I go to the embassy, sir? Thank you.
Thank you, Yahya. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is now open, and I will take just one question here, one in the middle, one here, and one there, and we end it. Please, the gentleman behind.
Good afternoon. Alhaji Aminu is my name. I'm CEO of Amisco Media Services. My own is just to present something to IG. Last year, there's a photograph here. They used to use this vehicle to burgle shops in Cuba. So I had a call in the night around 1 a.m. So I went out, about to burgle my wife's shop. I single-handedly arrested this vehicle. Went to call the police. After I apprehended the vehicle. The police went on patrol. We came back the same time. They did not reach that area. At the end of the day, police, I brought them to drive the vehicle back to their station. Getting to their station, I make a statement. I started following up this matter. This year, around 2 months ago, I went back again. The inspector in charge of that case, his name is Alice. She told me that the commissioner came around and asked them to auction the vehicle, which I believe the vehicle has returned back to the thief. So that's why I want to present there, because we went to Kuje to arrest the owner or the real owner of the vehicle, which I believe he presented the thief that used the vehicle to rob around. So this case, I don't know. I just want to present to this my case to the IG. So whether they are doing well or I know I commend the IG.
Round up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody in the middle here? None? Can I go this way? Anybody here? The gentleman out there, please come forward. The man with the yellow tie.
Please hurry up. The man with the yellow tie. Light yellow. Hurry up.
Good afternoon, Honorable Minister. I'm Tolokwe from a non-governmental organization. My question is to the Honorable Minister of Communications Technology. They thank Launchpad Initiative. Do you have plans for a technological village here in Abuja for aspiring ICT entrepreneurs or those that want to furnish? Yeah. Then the second question.
One question at a time. The man in white.
Man in white. Man in white. Hurry up, sir.
Good afternoon, ministers and audience. I am Mazi Chidikuko from NEI Africa. To the Honorable Minister of Police Affairs, please. Is the degree awarding Police Academy in Kano the answer to the prolonged agitation by officers and men whose acquisition of higher degrees while in service suffered non-conversion or promotion? How can the two aspects of academic pursuit be harmonized to ensure career progression and professionalism in the Nigerian police. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. This is a very important question. Honorable Minister of Information, can you just permit me to read this one? It is for Minister of Interior. It said that the current emergency rule is said to have displaced some Nigerians who are said to have migrated to Niger and Chad Republic. Are these really Nigerians or aliens returning to their countries because of the emergency rule? Please, Honorable Minister of Interior, we need clarification on this. Thank you. So, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I now begin to invite the Honorable Ministers to provide answers to the questions raised. And I may start with the Honorable Minister of Police Affairs. And the Minister has only 5 minutes to respond to his questions. Honorable Minister, sir.
I'd like to thank those who have asked questions. The first question, which has to do with the success that is being recorded by the Joint Task Force and those who are cooperating with them is an advantage to the clarion call by Nigerians that this country belongs to all of us. We cannot sit there and allow the country to be overrun by people with different agenda. The country, one of the key objectives of this administration is to maintain internal security, protect Nigerians, and ensure that the administration of Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. And so the government will go to all extent to ensure that. But I want to appreciate those who are giving information to the security agencies for them to be able to do their work. As far as the police ministry is concerned, we have police community relations in all the 36 states of the Federation, including the FCT. And in the Ministry of Police Affairs itself, we have the Inspectorate Division that looks at the police community activities, and then we are able to relate with those community relations committees in each state to ensure that seminars, trainings on community policing is achieved, and they go around all the 36 states to ensure that. So the outcome of that will lead to better partnership between the public and the police, and things will be a lot better. As far as contractor payment is concerned, we have two budgets. One is the regular budget, and the other one is the reform budget for the police. They are both appropriated. The difference between the two is that what is being appropriated by the National Assembly cannot be altered. We must strictly go by that and implement. The one of the reform program has some little flexibility in the sense that there is an interim implementation committee that is chaired by the Vice President to look at how the reform budget is spent. And he chairs that. It is under that window that I can have a little leeway to look at contractor payments and effect that. And I did that in the year 2012, and that will be done in this year. The other one is the harmonization of the degrees of officers and those that we will train in the academy. There is a facility for the police to look at how officers can be upgraded if they have undertaken degree courses that may earn them promotion. And so that's an internal arrangement within the police system. The one of the academy is for young cadets to come in and become highly professional like I said, it will be in line with what is happening in the police and in the military, the Nigerian Defense Academy, where officers will come out with degrees and make them more professional and ICT compliance, because fighting crimes and criminality is a technical matter. And as criminals are getting more enlightened and criminally minded, they are also using technology. So we must be a step ahead of them. So officers who come out to direct the rank and file of the police must have a degree. And these two can easily be harmonized. But this is strictly an internal matter within the police system. I want to thank you all. The last one is the vehicle matter which you have given to me. The police, the IGP is not here, but he has competent DIGs that can handle that, and as soon as I leave this platform, I will hand the matter to them and to be looked into. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, Police Affairs. May I invite the Honorable Minister, Communication Technology, to respond to her own questions.
Thank you very much. I have 3 questions. The first one was about what is caused the downturn in telecom services. Like I said, there's a direct correlation between the quality of service and the infrastructure that we have in this country today. And I made the explanation that for as long as we're not spending enough money on that infrastructure, that most of it is going into taxes and levies and right-of-way, then we're not going to have the infrastructure that we need as quickly as we need it. So what we're doing in the ministry is to ensure, working with state and local governments and the federal government as well, of course, to ensure that we are getting more value out of every naira spent in the telecoms infrastructure. Much more of that naira is going into build out of the infrastructure. So that's the real problem with that. That's why we're witnessing the downturn in telecom services. But we are working very closely with the telecoms operators, with the state and local governments at the highest level to ensure that we resolve this problem as quickly as possible. On the GLOW 888 number, I think that we'll have to work with the consumer services, consumer protection services of the NCC and see what that number is and who is actually managing that number. We'll also, of course, work with GLOW. Second question was about the increased capacity for production of mobile phones. I think I also mentioned that 2 companies are setting up the mobile phone production in this year. That's RLG.com with a $20 million facility and MyPhone with a $30 million facility. And we believe that they will start production in 2013. Tech Launchpad was actually a national initiative. So we invited young Nigerians from all over the world, all over Nigeria to participate, all over the world actually, because we had some submissions from out of Nigeria, to participate in developing software and submitting it to the panel of judges. We don't have an incubation center yet in Abuja, but Abuja is one of the centers that we're going to be launching an incubation or innovation center in over the next 2 years. We've done Lagos, we'll do Calabar in July, and we'll move across we'll have one in at least every geopolitical zone by the end of 2015. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I invite the Honorable Minister of Special Duties and Inter-Governmental Affairs to respond to his own side of the questions. Honorable Minister, sir.
Thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. 2 questions were addressed to me. One was asking how persons of unquestionable character were seen to have been conferred with Nigerian National Merit Award. I think that is highly impossible. Now, there are 2 categories of awards it's important for Nigerians to know. The first category is Nigerian National Merit Award. This category of award is usually given to distinguished academics, people who are proving themselves in their field of study or endeavor. Now, when nominations are made in this category, there is a faculty. This faculty is made up of distinguished, again, and accomplished academics who will sit down and see the reasons behind the recommendations, usually research in some areas that are recondite. And then they consider them. They look at these issues, and then on the basis of what they have seen, sometimes even including subjecting this to private interview sessions, it's therefore really impossible for any person of questionable character to scale through this thing and get to the point of being conferred with Nigeria National Merit Award. Now, if you are talking of Nigerian national honors, again, it's also impossible. Now, this category of award is open to all Nigerians and friends of Nigeria. The procedure usually is nominations are made by individuals, by states or local government, by companies, private or public. Now, where nominations are received, which usually is accompanied with CVs and photographs of the persons concerned. Now, a committee is charged with the responsibility of sifting through, and then at the end of the day, coming up with recommendations of persons that should be offered with this Nigerian National Award. And then the committee that does this sifting is headed by a retired Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Alpha Belgore. Now, even if any person of questionable character happens to pass through the sifting of this committee, at the end of the day, the recommendation of this committee get to the National Council of State, where all governors, all former CJNs, all former president and head of state also sit in council and then consider this thing before awards are made. So it's really going to be very difficult for a person of questionable character to be able to get to be conferred with either Nigerian National Merit Award or Nigerian National Award. Now, the second question relates to a person who said he lost his passport and was in a dilemma on how to report, how to come back home. Even though I said our ministry is without borders, I think with the presence of the Minister of Interior, I will respectfully refuse to cross this border this time around. I will allow him to take that question. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Minister, Special Duties and Inter-Governmental Affairs. So may we now invite the Honorable Minister of Interior, Comrade Abba Moro, to please come and respond to the questions raised in his sector. Honorable Minister.
Okay, I think I will start from that point, that the man who has lost his passport can confidently go to the Nigerian embassy in the country of his residence and apply for his passport to be replaced for him. And because we are mostly online now, if it requires the approval of the headquarters, it doesn't need of immigration, it doesn't need to come to Nigeria. We can still mail his approval to him and it can be issued with a new Nigerian passport. The other question is actually on what efforts we are making to fish out bad eggs. In spite of the fact that the Minister of Interior superintends over paramilitary institutions, they are still public service institutions, and public service regulations guide the activities, especially disciplinary activities of the Minister of Interior. As of today, I can inform you that given the circumstances in which we find ourselves, very many persons have been dismissed from the service of the Minister of Interior and its agencies without any undue fanfare. And many persons have been retired from the service without any undue fanfare too. So as a public service institution, we will continue to apply civil service regulations to make sure that only those persons who are qualified and competent continue to remain in our service. I've also said here, the fires I've told you, they are developing new infrastructures. I have told you we are attempting to procure the construction of 227 fire stations that will be equipped with the state-of-the-art materials for them to perform. I've equally told you, in the process of constructing these fire stations, appropriate manpower will be employed and engaged to also help them perform. So it is my hope that the Federal Fire Service will soon come alive and serving the purpose for which it was established. Refugees, again, because he didn't stay within the borders and didn't answer the question, maybe because of the respect he has for immigration. The question on refugees actually should have been his to answer. And I would simply say here that out of the 6,000 persons that have been characterized as refugees from Nigeria, fleeing from the crossfire of the enforcement of the law in this activities of Boko Haram, only 126 are Nigerians. The rest of them are Nigerians that perhaps, as had been the practice in the past, had come to do some farming activities in Boso and parts of the Nigerian border. But because of the activities of the enforcement of the peace by the Nigerian Joint Task Force, have found it convenient now to return to their country. And so I can assure you, therefore, that it is not the 6,000 that has been speculated that are Nigerians, but Nigerians that have been hovering around the Nigerian enclave for purposes of farming activities returned when the hostilities between the members of the Boko Haram and those of the Joint Task Force intensified. Thank you.
We want to thank all the ministers who have made their presentations. We would now invite the Honorable Minister of Information to come and make the concluding remarks. Honorable Minister, Information.
Nigerians. It's so difficult to distinguish, and that is the problem. It's a major problem indeed. So I think that has been very, very clear that the story about huge outflow of refugees from the states under emergency, some of them have to be verified. Only 126 Nigerians, and therefore the public should be clear about that. Well, Minister of Interior, you can see that some of the borders that are free could only be actually illegal crossing points. I could see how quickly you cross back from the question that was asked on refugees. So I hope that you now know that borders are very important. Having said this, ladies and gentlemen, today has been very explosive on the ministerial platform. You can see the kind of progress that has been recorded in all the 4 MDAs. You have a new police academy, so the police now have their own NDA. A similar institution like NDA has been established by the police, the new police academy at Wudil in Kano State, a degree awarding institution which has been established under the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan. So you talk of 12 conventional universities, and if you add the police university, then what the president has done in the last 2 years is to establish actually 13 universities in Nigeria. Now, you can see the progress that has been made. Yeah, but for the police force, I think so much has been done. And those have come in pictures so that those doubting Thomases can see. And the locations are also given. Now look at the structures at the new police academy. Senate building, hostels, lecture theaters, staff quarters are being constructed, completed at the new police academy. Then the police staff college, just I was there during the National Good Governance Tour. The entire place is being rehabilitated. The hostels, the staff quarters, and so on. And we saw them live in pictures. And then you look at the equipment for the police, from helicopters to aircraft, and also a number of vehicles for police to do their duties. These have been going on steadily under the President's administration. Now, if you take a look at all the things that have been done in the police force, including the new communication facilities to make crime monitoring and fighting easier, then you will see clearly that the President has invested heavily in ensuring internal security, particularly in the police force. Now you go on to immigration, you go on to civil defense. Those facilities are also made available to civil defense. And if you go to the new civil defense training center, where we saw dogs, that could virtually detect everything, including drugs, then you see clearly that this government is investing a lot in this area. So we want to commend Mr. President for these initiatives. Now the prisons are also receiving attention to ensure that we decongest our prisons and increase facilities for prisoners to live decent lives, and also training. A lot of training is going on in the prisons, facilities to prepare prisoners so that when they come out, they will be useful citizens. All these are going on in the ministry, of Interior. But most significant today is the new fire code. Sometimes we build our houses just anyhow. So even when the fire service comes, they can't have access to a building. And we have had a lot of losses as a result of this careless construction of houses. Now the new code is that for you to have a building anywhere in Nigeria, once that code becomes operational, you will have to satisfy or pass through the new fire code. If you are building, whether residential or commercial, does not have that approval, it will not be built. This is to save this nation from needless losses because of the way we construct our houses. So Minister of Interior, really a lot of work has been done there, including the new passport system, the new visa system, where people can come into Nigeria and get their visas directly at entry points for reputable businessmen and for nations that have similar agreements with us. We believe a lot of work has been done in this area, and with the paramilitary village, you can be sure that the Minister of Interior has acquitted himself and is doing a great job for this nation. Now, my sister from Communication Technology, 11,000 kilometers of new fiber optic lines laid in 2 years. 11,000, up from just 30,000 previously. So we really want to commend you for this, great achievement in 2 years. Also, 500 kilometers of fiber optic for areas that do not have enough services, the underserved areas. These are also ongoing. This indeed is a great achievement. Now, when you put into account what she has done in terms of a new communication policy that she has unveiled, also a new policy on ensuring that government utilization of ICT, is standardized. This will reduce duplication and costs that she has done. And then many schools, secondary schools, universities are coming onto new learning platforms to extend access to internet, particularly for our students and young people. And that is the generation of the future. With them, they can stay in Nigeria and get jobs abroad, which is what Indians are doing now. So a lot of attention is going into ICT. When you put that side by side with the new policy that was just handed over to Mr. President, the new policy on expansion of services across the country, you will see that between now and 2015 and beyond, Nigeria will have greater access, Nigerians will have greater access on internet, faster internet, where we can process, data on a very, very fast lane. That is what we require for greater economic development. So this new ministry has done a lot of work in the last 2 years, and we commend our sister, for taking Nigeria to the new age, which is the information age. The president said, when he was receiving the new broadband strategy paper from the presidential committee, that Africa lost it during the industrial age. We were not there. But he said everything will be done by this administration to ensure that Nigeria does not lose out in the new information age. And that is the promise of Mr. President as he received this new committee. And we're beginning to see that work out in different areas. Now, the Minister of Interior is very crucial. The Minister of Inter-Governmental Affairs and Special Duties is very, very crucial. You can see from what they have done just from February to now, standardizing the new lottery system to increase earning for the economy and for services, working hard to improve relationships between different theaters of government, different tiers of government, which is very, very important for policy coordination. Because the federal government is essentially a service provider for states. Unless you have proper management of relationship between states and federal government, you hardly can implement national policies. And so this new ministry is already taking up this duty to harmonize policies, to ensure that we do well, and indeed bring down the cost of facilities that are done both at the level of the federal and state government. So we commend your effort. And more importantly, in the last couple of weeks, he has been given this very difficult duty of bringing about amnesty for those of our children that have gone astray and are prepared to lay down their weapons and embrace peace. This has been one of the most difficult and controversial policies that Mr. President agreed to, because all the President wants is peace. Nobody wants to fight a war within his boundaries. And so this new minister has been working hard to ensure the success of this policy. And as he has reported, because of that policy, and because of Mr. President's diligence in respecting the Constitution when he upheld the state of emergency in the 3 states, today Nigeria is beginning to witness peace in the northeast of Nigeria. The state of emergency is a success, and you can only take it side by side with what he's doing to ensure peaceful negotiation with those who have opted for peace. So let me, in concluding today, say that, today I read a very funny newspaper article on the pages of one of the newspapers saying that ministers are not telling, government officials are not telling the truth about the achievements of the last 2 years. It's going on. I went on a national good governance tour to show physically at site and to transmit live the power projects, the university project that we're doing across the country, the road projects. We show them live. You can see that there are people who have eyes that they do not see because their mind is black. And I'll call on Nigerians to please make use of their senses, because, like I said last week, you cannot hide daybreak. Thank you, and we'll meet again on Thursday. Thank you.
We want to thank all the ministers that have made their presentations here to Nigerians. We are convening here on Thursday, and the Federal Capital Territory Administration will be doing a presentation, Housing and Urban Development. So you are all cordially invited. We have now come to the end of this program for today, and can we all now rise for the national anthem, please? The national anthem. Can we sing it, please? The honorable ministers and their permanent secretaries and chief